Welcome back to part 2 of this teacher career transition story. So if you haven't listened to part 1, head back to our channel and check that out before listening in because we're kicking off right where we left off. If you've already listened to part 1, then let's dive in. I'm Lisa Harding, ex-EdTech CEO turned certified teacher career coach. It wasn't all that long ago that I was recruiting, interviewing, and hiring teachers for roles in corporate America. Teachers that ended up being some of my all-time best employees. Fast forward through my own career transition, where I left my role as CEO to become a stay-at-home mom, I now work with and empower teachers to transform their lives by turning their once distant career dreams into realities. In this podcast, I give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. If you're a burnt-out teacher or simply need a change and you're looking to create a life you love, you're in the right place, friend. Let's get started.
So if people, and I just want to name this because I kind of know where I'm going to go to this next part with Ashley, just knowing that she was in recruiting. She has so many good tips and tricks when it comes to resumes, interviewing, and negotiating. And I want to give her some time to talk about that. So if I am missing any types of questions that you have physically about the transition process or about the careers that she's been talking about, absolutely drop those in the chat because I would love, Ashley, for you to kind of go through some of those tips that you were even telling me when it comes. We can start with like resumes, cover letters. Because again, you were in that field, you know what people were looking for. So if there's anyone that we can get such great advice from, like it's going to be you. So maybe can we at least start with like, okay, you were applying to be a recruiter. How did you get your resume to match what a recruiter was looking for from teaching experience with those transferable skills?
Yeah. So first thing, as getting your first teacher job, they tell you to add your picture on your resume, add some color. Maybe you have a pretty underline, maybe you even have a border. Scratch all that. Pull up the most boring resume template, fill it out, and with all your information, straight to business. Then you want to really make sure that you're looking at the job description. So say I'm applying to my admin coordinator role that I have now. I want to look at all my bullets as being a teacher and say, how can I rephrase these bullets to match what they want for this job? So say that you did a lot of planning of conferences or after school events, or you planned like a fun carnival for the kids. Change the wording in that to say that you did event planning or planning of events. If you did a lot of collaboration with your teammates, that is a great skill to say that you can collaborate with other people in the work environment. So add the word collaboration in there. Relationship building with children. You can build relationships with people on the phone or in the office. If you can multitask, that's a great skill to name drop. Problem solving, attention to detail. Really just pick out the words in the job description and find a way to match your bullets to that job. You might have to change your resume multiple times. So for my recruiting job, I wanted to say more about I can talk to different people, I can multitask, I have rigor, I can work long out. Like finding a way to match that job is the way you're going to get it. Because I had no admin experience, but guess what? Being a teacher is pretty much being an admin without the little kids. So you're really just morphing that resume to fit that job. But I'll say I only changed mine, like I made mine pretty generic and just applied to everything because I mean, it doesn't hurt. But then for the jobs I really wanted, I took the time to make it match more, just to stand out a little bit more.
I think what's so important of what you said too, you just highlighted so many transferable skills from teaching to other positions. And I think that's one thing I want to make sure everyone is so clear on. You have the majority of the skills that people are looking for in a job. They're just not necessarily being played out in the same way every day, right? So like you were giving lessons every day. Those are presentation skills. People are looking for presentation skills in whatever that next role is. So I think a lot of people tend to get trapped up in they're reading it for very like face value, almost like black and white, instead of looking at like what skills are associated with that and how was I already doing that in teaching. So I love the advice that you were just giving of like event planning, parent teacher conferences, field trips, field days, things like that. That is event planning. So I think to us as teachers, as we do tend to see things in more of a direct view, I think sometimes it can feel like, ooh, like, am I telling the truth? Am I saying that right? You absolutely are. Like as a marketer, you're just rebranding that in a way that is packaged up differently, but it is at the core the exact same skill. So definitely do not be afraid, as she was saying, to take all of those skills that you're thinking about. Like I do all these things. You just have to write them in a little bit of a different way to get it on your resume to match that. if you are a member of the Academy, you should absolutely check out our 202 bullet points for career transitioning teachers, because that will have very specific bullet points of like, hey, I'm looking at this job. Here's a bullet point I can use to highlight those transferable skills. Because I think that to me was, I think, my biggest eye opener is, yes, I can read a job posting. I may not have all the very specific technical things. I can go and learn those though. But honestly, the reason that I've gotten hired places is not for my technical knowledge. It's for just the personality that I have. And that's the personality that made me a good teacher. It's the same personality that's going to make me a good employee for them. So really, really lean into those transferable skills because yeah, if you're a teacher, you're right. You may not have the exact experience that they are looking for, but what you have are the skills that you need. And that is what's important. So Ashley, love that. Like, thank you for giving some of those really like tangible pieces too, because I do think that's a huge piece. And then thinking also about like upskilling. I know that you mentioned on your own resume that you want to make sure that you did that. So can you talk a little bit more about what upskilling you have done for either of the positions?
Yeah, similar to what I was saying, really just emphasizing those small skills
Yeah.
is what you need to do. I mean, we all use emails, we use Microsoft Word, we probably use PowerPoint to make some lessons. That's the same stuff that they use in the
Yeah.
corporate world as well. So just emphasize that you know how to use that and you can learn a new system really quick if they don't use that one. So really it's making sure it's on your resume and then speaking to it when you get there of, yeah, I did this with that and I can learn this. They love it when you figure out what systems they learn and you do a little bit research on it. So I forget, I think it was the company I did now. I was like, oh, you use this. I actually watched a couple YouTube videos on how to do it. And I reached out to my friend for a little tutorial before. And you say that in an interview and they're like, oh my gosh, she's really proactive in learning. And I love that. So fake it till you make it and just do what you can, really.
Totally. I'm like you said, like you're not going to know every single thing out there. Like I think about the amount of platforms that I use on a day to
Right.
day that I never would have used before. These aren't platforms that like you can't not learn. Like you can easily learn them. It
Right.
just takes time. So yes, they're going to put those on their job description because if someone does have them, it's kind of like oh yay, like a good extra check mark. But not having them doesn't mean like oh I'm not going to be a good candidate for
Well,
them.
think about how much our curriculum changes.
Oh
We
my gosh.
have the ability to learn a new curriculum in the snap of fingers. I can learn a new system the next day. Like, we can do it. You have those skills. Just tell them how you did it in teaching, and they're going to be like, how'd you do that? And you taught it to
Yeah.
someone.
Adaptability, like that's what I just heard from that. I'm adaptable. Like you Ashley and I can very much attest that we could walk into
Mhm.
school one day and it would be like, guess what? Brand new initiative today. And it starts right now. Like, and you
Right.
just had to do it and you had to do it in the moment. That is huge. Being able to think on your feet and be adaptable and flexible is massive in other careers. So I love that you highlighted that too. That is a really important transferable skill to be highlighting on resumes because no one wants someone who's just going to be lazy and not do anything and not try to be dynamic and be flexible as the times are changing. Because let's be real, that is what's going to happen. I know I say this every webinar. Teachers are superheroes. You can literally do anything and you do everything. All you have to do is take what you're doing and just write it in a different way to show people that because people may not be making that connection, but I promise you are doing the things that they want you to do. I know Ash and I talked about this too. The FBI is like literally hiring. They have an application for teachers because
Right.
they want teachers with the teacher skills. They're like, we'll teach you how to do FBI stuff. We just need the type of people that you are in these types of positions. So like you are wanted for the transferable skills that you have. It's just how you're presenting them on your resume. So awesome tips, Ashley. I know those really would have helped me when I was applying. That's for sure.
Today's episode is sponsored by the Teacher Career Transition Academy. Are you eager to explore new possibilities but find yourself unsure of where to start? Look no further than our Teacher Career Directory. Available for free, this comprehensive resource features over 200 careers tailored for transitioning teachers. Dive into detailed insights, including average U.S. salary ranges, occupational outlooks, and even a personalized skills and interests inventory. Download now at teachercareertransitionacademy.com/directory. I'll also drop the link in the show notes of this episode. So don't miss out and claim your free directory today at teachercareertransitionacademy.com/directory.
What I would love to focus on though, Ashley, is thinking about how you were able to identify a new career. And I would first like to name for everyone that Ashley, you were a first recruiter and then from recruiting actually found the job that you're currently in now. So can you first talk about what made you decide to choose recruiting as you were choosing to leave school?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I started looking for a job before the school year ended. So I would say about 3 months before the school year ended, I was having those thoughts of should I leave? Should I stay? And I said, you know what? let me just start applying to everything. I literally applied to every single job that was the quick apply button. I applied to all my favorite companies of things I like even Red Bull, the cheese that's in my fridge, literally any company I saw a label on, I applied to it. And then I randomly got a call from the message on LinkedIn from the hiring manager from the recruiting company. It's a third-party recruiting agency, actually out of Michigan, which is where I'm from. And funny enough, they pretty much hire everyone that went to the college I went to, so Michigan State University, go green. And so my lucky day, I was like, perfect. I need a job. I went to that school and please hire me. So the hiring manager / recruiter gave me a call on the phone. She just sort of asked me, hey, can we chat a little bit about what you're looking for? I'll tell you a little bit more about the role. And so we had a phone call, which then led into a video call with 2 people that were part of the company. So I got to learn a little bit more about the company itself. And then after that interview, there was a final interview with the person who owned the company and the person that would be my boss out here in Denver. And it ended up being a really good fit. I will admit, I probably begged for the job a little much, but they liked that because they're salespeople. I was like, please just give me a chance. I'll prove it to you. My dad's in sales. I got it. I can do it. I can talk all day long. So I got my first recruiting job. Recruiting is a great job. Third-party recruiting is a good start. So what third-party recruiting is, it is a company that other companies hire to fill their hard-to-fill positions. So say we can just compare it to like McDonald's. Say McDonald's wanted to hire a recruiting company to hire a cashier. So I would get assigned that job and I would start cold calling a bunch of different people to see if they would be the cashier at McDonald's. And so I would have a ton of different jobs to work on. So I might have a finance person at a bank. I might have a technician on a manufacturing floor. So I had all different types of jobs I worked on. And I would just call people, probably 70 plus calls a day, just calling people, hey, would you be interested in this role? Let me tell you about it. And then as soon as I got someone interested in the job, I would schedule an interview with them, or I would do it right there on the phone and ask them questions about what they're looking for, and just see if it would be a good fit from there. So it was a really good job. It was remote. It was very flexible. I could go home to Michigan whenever I wanted and see my family, but it was a lot of calling. It was calling. But I liked it. I mean, as teachers, I think we all like to talk, and it's a job for the ones who like to talk. So I loved interviewing people. I loved talking to new people on the phone. Someone would be mean to me and I'm like, I don't care. It's just like a parent that was mean to me in school. I don't know. Okay. But and it's a really good job because I think as teachers, we're really good at changing how we speak to different types of families and students. So I could speak to the highest person, like a CEO at a company, but I could also talk to a technician on the manufacturing floor with loud machines around them because I knew how to switch and communicate with all different types of people. There would be recruiters at my company that'd be like, oh, I don't want to talk to the technicians. They're mean. And I was like, I can do that. Like, let me talk to them. So I think it is a really good job because we as teachers can talk to anyone. We're great listeners. We know that someone saying something mean to you isn't going to upset you. It's just a great job. It's great. But then, yeah.
Keep going, Ashley. Nope, keep going.
Well, I was going to say after that, I mean, it was a lot of calls. So, I mean, think about it. Do you make 70 plus phone calls a day? Not many people do. So I actually started recruiting a lot of engineers one day and I said, those aerospace companies that all these engineers are working for sounds pretty good. They have a good 401k. They have 4 weeks of vacation. They have this flexible schedule, 4 10s, only working 4 days a week. I was like, ooh, I want that. That's even better than what I have now. So being the recruiter that I was, I said, well, if all these people are getting recruited and making more money and finding new companies, I want one too. So I started applying to every single aerospace company I could find in Denver. And I was like, any entry level role. And my roommate, her boyfriend actually ended up working at Sierra Nevada. And so I had him refer me to every entry level position. And I ended up getting an interview for an admin coordinator role, which is I would say, a teacher's dream job. So admin coordinators are sort of another version of an executive assistant, an admin assistant, an office manager. Those are all really good names for teachers to look for. So I'll repeat that again: admin coordinator, executive assistant, admin assistant, and office manager. So really what I do in my new role is it is all in person. So it is a switch from my remote vacation. Um, but I do some things like I plan travel, I do expense reports, I plan events, I order snacks for the office. I train new engineers about how the office works, where they can find supplies, who they can go to for help. I lead tours. I reserve conference rooms and bring them lunch, snacks, donuts. I even get to go to Target in the middle of my day to pick up, right, to pick up things for the office. I'll go to Nothing Bundt Cakes and pick up bundt cakes. I go to Krispy Kreme donuts in the morning, and my driving counts as work. So it's wonderful. And
Great.
it's such a easy job where I can talk to people all day long and walk around and introduce myself to new employees, but I also have time to sit at my desk and do just task work where I can check it off. And who doesn't love to check something off their list?
I'm a huge to-do list girl. And I think also thinking about teaching, like when are you ever given the time to actually sit down and do the job, like plan the job that you actually need to do, right? Like
Mhm.
having time for that is like, it seems silly that it feels like a blessing in a new job, but like that is something that people don't get now. And I think that when you think about even the things you said, I'm thinking about my calendar. I block my calendar to be like, here's a 2 hours, no one's allowed to disturb me then. Like I
Right.
have that flexibility to go do that and get my job done.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to pull out of what you just said was I'm hearing that the way that you got the current job that you're in is through ta-da, networking.
Yep.
So you'd like to circle back to that theme. And then so I know you explained what third party recruiting is, but does that mean that there's recruiting that you can do that is not necessarily through a third party that's just looking to fill like positions for other companies?
Yeah, so my company that I work for now has their whole own recruiting department, which most companies do. That is where then you are a recruiter only calling the people that are applying to the jobs at your company and telling them about the role and then setting up an interview with them and the hiring manager. So it is a lot less stressful.
Okay.
It's more laid back. You're more just making sure the whole process is going smooth for someone that is actually interested in the role. While as third party recruiting, you're sort of convincing someone to take a job that they didn't know was there, or they might not be interested in leaving their company anyways.
So would you say that for going, if someone's looking to leave teaching to go into recruiting, is it
Mhm.
easier to get that first job at a company that is doing recruiting just for them? Or would you think it's probably easier to get a third party recruiting job?
Yeah, definitely easier to look for third-party recruiting agencies, but I'd say be careful. A lot of those roles are just commission-based. You'll have to see, is it a salary role or is it just all commission? Commission's a little bit riskier. I mean, if you're a good salesperson, you can do it, but I like the comfort of having a salary and knowing that I'll get a paycheck every month. But
Yeah.
some recruiting jobs, if you hire someone, you might get like $1,000 for hiring a person. So it's a nice uh, incentive to keep going.
And I think you raise a great point and thinking about how people are looking at careers, it's great also to be thinking about what type of payment you would like, because this is a career very similar to sales that some are going to be a salary base where you are guaranteed a certain amount of money. Yes, maybe you have bonuses, commissions that you can earn based on your performance, but then there's also companies that are strictly just based on your performance. So really be thinking about that if this is a field that you're interested in, of what type of position that you would like. Ashley, would you say that when you're applying, are they pretty clear about that in job descriptions, how they are paying you, or does that come out further along in the interview process?
So certain states will tell you how much the salary is or what you'll get paid. Some states don't have to tell you. So some job descriptions will show the salary, some won't. I'll admit, don't be scared of hourly jobs. My job now is actually hourly, but it's paid just like a salary job. So
Yeah,
I will always get 40 hours a week, no matter what. So it's really like a salary. But
yeah,
don't be scared if it says hourly because it might be a good hourly wage and you might get overtime. So
totally.
it's something to look at too.
And something else, and I was thinking about you identifying a new career that I'm thinking about from your transition from recruiting into your new role is some of the industries that you started thinking about. So how did you decide, like you said, like, ooh, aerospace companies. What was your thought process of, I'm here now and I would like to make a change? How did you decide what industry to start poking into after you knew the career that you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, I really just picked aerospace because that's what I was really recruiting the most for. And I just everyone loved their companies and I couldn't get them to leave. I was like, please take this job I'm trying to sell you on. And they're like, no, my company's great. My life's great. It's so flexible. I get a lot of money. And I was like, oh, I want that. I was like, can I take the job though? So aerospace, I mean, you think about it. We went to school for teaching and I was like, would I ever be able to work for a company that makes rockets or airplanes? I didn't go to school for that. But then I started learning about spaceships and rockets in my recruiting job. And I was like, ooh, what? I want to work for NASA. I don't care.
I can do anything.
They have so many entry level roles and they don't care if you're a teacher or not. There's recruiters, there's admins, there's planners, there's purchasing agents, someone that literally just buys things for someone in the company. You just get to buy things all day.
Right.
A little more than that, but
Right.
I mean, it's pretty fun. There's proposal managers, there's the people in the post office at a company. Like there's so many jobs that we can do, and just don't be scared to apply to all of them. It doesn't matter because the worst they'll say is no.
Totally, right? And I feel like this is something even about shifting your mindset that we hear a lot of, that a lot of the times people read a description and be like, yeah, I'm not sure. What's the harm in trying? Again, the worst thing they're going to do is either not say anything or just say no. Like nothing bad is coming out of that.
Right.
So definitely, people here, if you're listening, please make sure that you are not feeling scared or overwhelmed when you read a description. Just apply, because you literally never know. I can promise you the ones that you're not expecting are usually the ones that come back. Like the job that I'm in now was totally like pie in the sky. It was like pipe dream job for me. And I applied to it because I was like, how can I not put my name in for that? And then I ended up getting it. I truly did not expect to. So it's really those sneaky ones that are going to get you. So I love that advice, Ashley. Do not be scared. Just apply. And I'm telling everyone, like, things will work out as they should. I promise you.
Well, friends, that concludes another inspiring teacher career transition story. Whether you're left feeling certain that this career path is your next calling, or you can cross it off your list, I know you're walking away with valuable insights to take with you. If you want to access even more stories like these, there's an entire library of teacher career transition stories within the Teacher Career Transition Academy under the Career Exploration module of the program. If you're interested in learning more about the Academy, I'll drop a link in the show notes. And don't forget to check out our podcast channel for other great advice from our coaches and experts. Until next time, remember, friends, the journey is just the beginning. Embrace the adventure.